In Montreal, Canada, recently a hospital posted bilingual signs to help Anglophone patients find their way around the hospital. Sounds like a reasonable thing to me, but not so fast. You know, the Quebec's language police came along and said, you can't do that. You can only have one language here. The rest of the country, they can have two languages, but here in Quebec, we can only have one. They had to take the sign down. So if you want to get sick, maybe don't go to that hospital, maybe don't go to that province. That's just terrible. I mean, you know what? This language law business in Canada has cost trillions of dollars. The laws are enforced in all of the provinces where everybody speaks English pretty much, and the one province where it should actually work, they're not allowed to have it. They only have one there, and yet the country continues to spend zillions and zillions every other day. Wow, does that make any kind of sense? None at all. And now you have got a brand new government in place, and they're liberals, and they're the ones, by the way, that brought this law in. The conservatives, they had every opportunity with majorities over the Times, to change that, to put it back to where it was, and of course they chose not to, and now you got the French people coming in because Trudeau, he once said, he's now the new Prime Minister, he once said, if I had to choose between Canada and Quebec, I would pick Quebec. Can you imagine a guy saying that? He lives in Montreal. About 40,000 people all living in Quebec are the only ones that voted for the Prime Minister of the country. It makes my head ache. And now you got these issues going on in the hospital. They've always been going on. Somebody tries to put an English sign up and the police come along, the language police, and they take it down. And this Prime Minister now, will he do anything about that? Probably. He'll get him to put bigger words in French, and I don't know. I'm being facetious, but will he? I doubt it. I mean, get rid of that stupid law. I mean, having two languages, it makes no sense to me. He's got a bold experiment going on, Trudeau. Now back to him again. He's got a new cabinet. It's fewer people than what the other party had. That's good. I wish him well. I truly do. It's my country. I'm a Canadian. I was born there. I mean, I want it to work. But liberalism can't work. I mean, it's just let's all be equal as long as I have more. I remember the day when an English-speaking white guy was treated like a Canadian if you were born there, and today we're not treated very nice, don't you know? In South Africa, here's a student that came to the rescue of his classmates. They all had to go to school, and they had a very important exam to do, and this boy, his name was Leanne Adonis. He's only 20 years old, and he said, hey, we live 19 miles from school, and the bus driver didn't show up, and what are we going to do? So he figured it out. He stole the bus. He found the keys, got into the bus, and he drove it to school with all the other students. The cops, so they didn't quite see the humor in it. They charged him, and we'll see where that plays out, but anyway, it's kind of a fun story. Here's a guy, 18 years old, and he's a Muslim, and he went into the University of California here just the other day, and he stabbed 4 people. He stabbed them with a knife. Nobody died. That's a good news, but he was singing, you know, praise Allah as he's doing this, and the police came along finally, and they shot him, and that's a good thing. But you know, what do we do now? I mean, was he a terrorist? Clearly. And did he hurt people? Clearly. Didn't have a gun though, so we don't have to ban guns, I guess, but he did have a knife. What do we do about that? Bill Gates, he's come out. Not gay. He's come out though. I find stuff like this always so disturbing, because he's a very rich guy. He had one great idea, and he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His father's the main partner, one of the largest law firms in the world. But he did take that silver spoon and turn it into gold. So I get that. He's an extraordinary man, but he's a left-wing guy. I always marvel at how rich people that use the system to get rich then turn around and say this system's bad. It's just like I remember watching Rock Hudson one time, and he was fighting with John Wayne. They both had their shirts off, and big, strong men. And when it came out later that he was gay, I was shattered. I thought, blah. I mean, how could that be? And you know, we're back to this. I thought you were a great big business guy, and now you're making statements, Bill Gates, like this. Only socialism can save our planet. Really? Wait for this. From climate change, and of course from other things. He goes on to say that democracy has failed. The private sector, where he made his zillions of dollars, by the way, but don't bore yourself with facts, doesn't work, and we need bigger government to save us and to save the world. That's just so disheartening. That's kind of back to watching John Wayne and Rock Hudson fight. Kind of gives you a sick feeling, because capitalism is a wonderful thing. I mean, it made the world that we're in, and we want to be in at least, and then he talks like that. Houston, talking about gay, let's go back to that. You got a mayor there who's openly gay, and she says that, you know, because I'm gay, I think she says, she certainly implies that everybody should be gay. I don't think we'd have any people then in a few generations, would we? In any event, she said the Houston voters now have rejected rejected a ballot initiative aimed at instituting sweeping new anti-discrimination laws aimed at sexual orientation. And it didn't go through, and I'm upset about that, she says, but hey, more than 60% voted against it, but that doesn't matter. I'm still going to make this work. I will prevail. We're united. You have not seen the last of this. What part of no don't you get? Y'all come back tomorrow. We're going to vote for you from the right. Politically, right is right and left is wrong. See ya.